Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. We are live Sunday, the 14th day of March, 2010, and we're going to be live here for the next 2 hours. We have a lot of important news to cover today, obviously, but the first thing I want to cover is a Boston News Channel piece. Team 5 investigates after Amesbury pulled sodium fluoride from their water supply. And we'll get into why they've done this and how the story itself is a red herring. And Kurt Nimmo has written a key article titled, "Story on Mystery Substance Distracts from Fact that Fluoride is Deadly Killer." And he wrote the story yesterday. It's excellent. And if you go to the bottom of the featured news section on the front of Infowars.com, it's already scrolled to the bottom there. It's very important to read this article and to send it to everyone you know. Because it's not just about fluoride. It nexuses in to so many important subjects. Also, Massachusetts High Court rules Second Amendment does not apply to the states and that they can basically ban firearms. This is treason. We know what the Second Amendment states. We know what the Supreme Court has said. But these parasite states run by complete criminals want to disarm their slaves, and it's not going to happen. Also, Kurt Nimmo's got a new story out at Infowars.com. Links to the AP. Guns used in Pentagon and Las Vegas courtroom shootings originated with Tennessee police. Both of the big shootings used to put naked body scanners in courthouses and to demonize 9/11 truth came from law enforcement lockers. Very, very suspicious. Pelosi says she's confident the House will pass the health care bill. We've been hearing that for the last 2 months, so that is coming up as well today. I also want to get into the nanny state. It's not just New York wanting to ban salt in your food. They want to tax and regulate every facet of your life. We're going to break down not just the nanny state, but why they want this nanny state, the type of system that is being set up. Also, Obama supports a national DNA database, and we're going to play a video and audio clip of him promoting that and exactly what that means. Folks in California are revolting. PG&E customer refuses to take smart meter, locks up old meter, and they're now putting these in Austin, where I live, where they can control your thermostat. And they're saying as part of a green initiative, the government may not let you to have your house at 76. They're going to decide how much energy you can have. And this gets into the whole nanny state stack of news that we have here today. But this situation with fluoride is so important and feeds into so many other subjects to really understand the type of society we live in with this deadly poison, this forced medication going on, that we're going to cover that first when we come back. Also, an amazing interview, the best I've ever done, of many, in person and on the radio, over the phone, with former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura. I want to talk about that today because I've been told the show had been picked up again for a second season after getting record ratings on True TV about a month ago, but I couldn't talk about it. And then Ventura went ahead and said on air that, for those that want to know, I'm going to be a bigger, even bigger part as a consultant and in the production and probably one of the main reporters in the new season of True TV. But they don't start production on that until the summer. So that's very, very exciting. This groundbreaking work continues, and that this information is becoming so mainstream that now I'm going to get an even bigger role with Governor Ventura in his television program, his hit television program that is the first ever on national television, really exposing in a fair manner the New World Order from our perspective. Okay, I'm going to launch into all the news straight ahead after this quick break, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday edition. We are live, the 14th day of March, 2010. Going to be here for the next 2 hours. Okay, I'm going to get into a big stack of nanny state news from not just the United States, but around the world. The same private corporate interest worldwide are lobbying governments to basically turn the planet into a prison and to micromanage and control every facet of our lives, to literally completely domesticate us. I want to get into that stack of news. A lot of economic news as well today. But the first story I want to get into is from the BostonChannel.com. Team 5 investigates after Amesbury pulls sodium fluoride from the water supply. More than 70% of U.S. cities and towns have sodium fluoride added. And in 2000, in 2006, and we've had the head of the EPA's union on, who's a top toxicologist. Over 90% of their toxicologists and scientists have sent open letters to their bosses and to the Congress saying, take fluoride out of the water. Number one, sodium fluoride's deadly poison. Number two, under the catch-all term sodium fluoride, they are adding over 150 on average, sometimes over 300, but most cities, 150 deadly chemicals. It is the toxic waste of nuclear weapons, uranium purification, aluminum production, and, of course, fertilizer production. Mercury, lead, arsenic. And they take this toxic waste that big companies, this is such a sick joke, it's got to be the biggest hoax in history. And in the 40s, when they were producing nuclear weapons secretly in Tennessee, this is all declassified, they began dumping the fluoride byproduct in the streams and rivers. And so they put out a report in the late 40s saying, let's just put this in the water supply. And if you read mainline history books about communist Russia and about Nazi Germany, it was first the Russians by the 20s had learned that if they added sodium fluoride, and its different cofactors, or different variants, different varieties they put in, that it is a toxic sedative. It also reduces fertility and attacks the entire body. Now, this is not my opinion. Kurt Nemo's written an article at Infowars.com that has links to the federal government, to the EPA, to Austrian university research, just to major scientific reports. It has an entire, the National Research Council, the Journal of Toxicology and Environmental Health, Agriculture Research Services. So everything I'm telling you here is on record. And you can go read how it attacks your bones and more than doubles bone cancer. It's even higher if you just look at men, but overall, averaging men and women together, a doubling of bone cancer. It attacks the bone marrow and the very important white blood cell production and stem cell production. It accelerates the aging process. It attacks the thyroid. It attacks the hypothalamus. And some will say, well, if this fluoride's so bad, why does the news say we're living longer? Well, the United States is listed as 25th in the world for longevity, right beside Libya and others. But the bigger issue here is we live less extended lives than we did 100 years ago. Oh, yes. Let me explain how they cook the numbers. There's one area where Americans live longer. If you ever go out to an old cemetery, we've got an old family cemetery with 150-year-old graves in it, and you'll notice that more than half the graves are 5 years old or younger. Yes, most families lost children. Different statistics from different decades, but as much as a third or more of children never made it past age 5. And you had high infant mortality. And a lot of women died giving birth. So you go to a graveyard, it's full of 16 and 18 and 20 and 22-year-old women who died during childbirth, and a lot of times they're buried right next to their dead baby. So if you made it past the age of 10, and there's different statistics on this, but on average past the age of 10, you would live into your 80s, not to the average of, 74 in the U.S. So we actually live, even though we have better food and supposed better medicine, we live a lot less longer than our ancestors did. Because you're going to see this hoax number put out everywhere that, well, we're living longer. No, we're not. We are not living longer. And we're way behind every other industrialized country. And because of better nutrition and a lot of good things that mainline classic Western medicine provides. You don't die of gangrene from a broken leg or a bullet wound. So there's a lot of great things. And the establishment knows we'd be living to 120 with all of these advances if they weren't poisoning the water supply and the food. And this is on record. I have the White House science czar, John P. Holdren, writing a big textbook about drugging the water and the food. We have all these globalist statements about how they want to do this. It is going on.